Who threw away a perfectly fine permaculture pimp daddy? All right, well, this would seem a disgusting thing for most people. Well, it ain't for me, because I can't exactly tell you where I am, but I do have permission to hit every single place around here that is affiliated with this place. Now, it's not organic, but it is non-GMO. And I'm telling you right now, folks, I've done this for years and years, and in one 5-minute visit, I'm going to get enough feed, and I have in the past. I've gotten enough feed to feed 100 chickens for an entire week in one 5-minute visit. Now, there are times I don't always have to jump in the dumpster, but I'm trying to make it as appealing to the people here as possible. I want to make it easy for them. But check it out, folks. All the omnivores I have are being fed from food that is better than anything you could buy in the store. It's better than that stuff in the bags. Now, do I have to worry about the micronutrition components? Yeah, sure, to some extent, but you always do. In this dumpster, this one 5-minute visit is going to result in enough food to feed if I wanted. Now, let's just say, I pass this place all the time, but if I wanted, and this is no exaggeration, I could easily feed 200 layers, possibly even broilers, chickens of course, and I could probably feed about 10 pigs with just this one place. And that's no exaggeration. So if you're looking for any reason whatsoever to find alternate feed sources, hit up any place that sells non-GMO food and find out what they're doing with it. And more than likely, they're going to probably thank you, because guess what? They're not filling up their dumpsters as often as possible. If people like me are coming in there taking very, very useful stuff and using it at the house, and guess what? Chickens are happy, pigs are happy. I know I'm happy when I didn't spend a fraction of what it would take to fatten up broilers, layers, and pigs. All right, here we are back from dumpster diving. And believe it or not, it's one of the most enjoyable things I do. Knowing that I'm taking something that would ordinarily go into a landfill and I'm repurposing that food to feed our animals, which ultimately feed us for free. And we've been doing this for years and years. So what do we got in here? Now, I'm not going to tell you where I got this stuff because, number one, I don't need competition at my local honey hole to figure out, I don't need you taking my stuff. But I think you can kind of figure it out if you consider what's in this bucket. Got a little bit of lettuce, romaine lettuce no less. Got some rice, got some beans, got some chips, a bunch of other goodies in here. And believe it or not, folks, if you think this stuff is no good to eat, well, there's an entire movement out there, people called freegans, where they jump in the dumpsters and jump out with food, and that's how they eat. Now, disclaimer here. Permaculture Pimp Daddy ain't eating food out of a dumpster, but I will feed that food out of a dumpster to the animals I do eat, or to the animals that provide food that I can eat. And we've been doing it for a long time. So if you just kind of take stock of what's in this bucket and then think about what's in your store-bought grains and all those things that you get at your local farm store or whatever, I haven't done any studies on it, but I'll bet $1 to a dime this stuff is way more nutrient dense, way more nutrient packed, and the animals, I can tell by the way they eat it, they absolutely love it much more than anything you can buy. Okay, let's talk about the history of how we came into doing this, how we even knew this was an option. A while back, years ago, when we started doing this, when we got really, really serious about growing our own food, we were first inspired by Jeff Lawton. And then Justin Rhodes did his version of it, of a chicken run on steroids. But it was first Jeff Lawton's video of a chicken tractor on steroids, where he was essentially feeding all these chickens with no store-bought feed whatsoever. It was essentially using the biota in the compost, and also some of the food scraps that they were throwing out there. So we found ourselves in small town Texas, essentially a food desert, the consummate definition. Folks, food deserts don't just exist in cities, and I'll cover that in a future video. But here we are in a small town in Texas, and really not a whole lot of options. I'm going to every grocery store I possibly can, asking them, some places 30 and 40 miles away, asking if there was any way I could possibly have the things that they are throwing out from the produce department. Universally, the answer was no. Until finally we found one where they had just a regular dumpster and not one of those compacting dumpsters. So we started off with one chicken tractor on steroids. And to tell you I was nervous is an understatement. We started out with one chicken tractor on steroids and thought, okay, after I got the bugs worked out, I said, man, this is working all right. And we had really just Australorps in there, 30 Australorps, or 33 actually. Then we built another chicken tractor, and then we put barred rocks in there. Then we built another chicken tractor, and I think we have Rhode Island Reds. Essentially, at one particular time, we were getting well over 100 eggs a day from well over 100 birds a day, and we weren't spending one thin dime on feed costs. In fact, their production was, just like Jeff Lawton chronicles in his video, their production was better under the chicken tractor on steroid system, basically giving them food scraps than it ever was giving them feed on demand. They had to work harder, and in the process it seems as if they rewarded us even better the harder they had to work for their food. So at one particular time we were feeding well over 100 birds a day, and we were doing it easily. And at that time I think I was stopping one time a week, and it might have taken 15 minutes to get all the food I needed to feed 100 birds in 1 week. So here we are, not living in small town Texas anymore. Here we are in the highlands of North Carolina, with so many more options available to us. So many different places that are very conscious about the food they feed their people, and are very, very welcoming into whom they give the things they throw away, who they give it to. And like I said, it's no different here. So in one 5-minute visit, I get all the food I need. In fact, I get more than I possibly need in one 5-minute visit to feed these 2 pigs and the 30 chickens, or roughly 30 chickens we have. And I still have more left over. In fact, these 5 buckets will feed these guys for every bit of a week, and I promise you we'll still have a bunch left over, which, hey, that's a good problem to have, because now we can compost it. All right, now it's time to feed the pigs their afternoon meal, which they absolutely love. All right, if you like what you see, folks, subscribe, tell your friends about us, and try some of this stuff for yourself. This is Billy, the permaculture pimp daddy from Perma Pastures Farm. We'll see you next time.